following a trail of we call it suppositions on this parsha has led me to again, as Torah does, to insights that I had never seen before, and that always raises more questions than it does answers. So we are right. We're right in style. Parsha Vayera Shishi. One of those puzzling parshas in the Torah because it raises lots of questions, and there's a whole bunch of alternative shatim, of course, which are all important. But we'll see how far we can get. But before we got to first start off with a couple of shlem. That's the other. Da 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 da. Oh, da 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 da. Oh, da 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 di da da da. Oh, da 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 da. Oh, da 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 di da da da. Oh, da da da. Oh, da 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 di da da da. Da di da da da. Di da 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 da, my da 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 da, my da da, my da da, my da da da, da da da, my da da, my da da da, my da da, my da da, my da da da, di da da da, di da. Avasolam Tovilohem, Avasolam Tovilohem, Avasolam Tovilohem, Avasolam Tovilohem. Tovisovois Lavonim Tiskos, Tovisovois Lavonim Tiskos, da 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 di da da, my da da my, my da da my da da my da da da, my da 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 da, my da da my da da my da da my da da, my da my da my da da. Bim bam bam bim bam bam da da da, bim bam bam da my da da my da da, bim bam bam bim bam bam bim bam da bim bam 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 la di da da, di da di da di da bam 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 la 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 di da 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 di da 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 di da 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 ay la la di da da la 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 di da da la la ay la di da da la 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 di da di da la 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 ay la 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 bam bam bim bam bam bim bam bam bim bam bim bam bam bim bam So I was thinking about it because this is the Brisa Avos Labonim Tizkar that this is what every Rosh Chodesh we ask Hashem Abba Salam Tovi Lohem that this eternal love, this unconditional love which HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for Bnei Yisrael seems to be dependent on Brisa Avos Labonim Tizkar. That Hashem keeps the bris between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Bnei Yisrael eternally. Right, but this whole definition of the bris between the Kadosh Baruch Hu and Bnei Yisrael is severely tested in this parsha, because we start off with parsha Vayera with Avraham Avinu asking the Shekhinah to please wait while I go into do Chachnos Tzorchim. Gedol Chachnos Tzorchim Yos Mekabos Pnei Shekhinah. Right, and the kash on this is just like. Okay, it's a Gemara. We know that this is what we're told that Rashi brings it. But the kash is, who says that Chnos Orchim is not Kabbal's Pnei Shechina? It's as if to say that Chnos Orchim is not Kabbal's Pnei Shechina. So the Chassidish Rambam going to spend a lot of time trying to reconcile that, because so it's saying, so the more names Shanon is beautiful. He says that the definition is that Avraham Avinu was mispalo that this Hachnos Zorchim should be a complete Kabbal's Pnei Shechina. Right? That it should be Gedolah, it should be that this mitzvah. Hold on, please. Only because they're all relevant. So that's switch it around so that Hachnos Zorchim is Gedolah because it is, if it's done the right way. And if we had instances where you knew that it wasn't invited to people's houses, that this was not going to be an experience of Kabbal's Pnei Shechina. Okay, that's in the sign. And over the years, you have many times where you've been brought people into your house, and that was a real Messiah, right? To be able to but that's they said that's how the Baal Shem was born, because his parents, who were in the 80s and 90s years old, and so it's all part of similar to Avraham Avinu, they were Machnos Orchim, they were tested. The Baal David tested them. And sent Eliyahu Hanavi to test them, and because they didn't let.
Talking about the rice?
What?
We're talking about the rice, or test them what way?
The test them just by being a miserable guest.
Oh,
yeah, by taking all the food and taking etc. But there's the story almost by every one of the tzaddikim of the Talmud of Hashem. They were tested. The whole. That's where there was Zechah to have such great tzaddikim for children, because their Hachnos Zorchim was beyond compromise. So in that sense, yes, that the fact that Avraham Avinu was mekabel these three quote Arabs, right, and brought them in, even though they appeared to be Oivdei Avodah Zarah, brought them in and gave them to eat and to drink, etc. That was all part of Kabbal's Pnei Shechina. Okay, that's one of the answers, but let's take it a little bit farther, because that only became more evident toward the end of the parsha, the end of Shishi. Okay, let's look at Shishi. But it was at that moment, that time when after Avram, so by Sarah's insistence, drives away Yishmael, and the whole event of Yishmael, being Hashem answered Yishmael because Ba'ashu Hashem, that he was at that moment he was a tzaddik, Right, so there's Shmuel became a hunter and a etc. So after that, at that moment, at that time, which time? Just at the time when Yishmael was being, when Hashem was answering the tefillah for Yishmael. He says, we know that Hashem is with you in everything that you see. Excuse me.
Here, Rabbi, here.
I got it. Thank you. That we know that Hashem is with you. So Rashi said, Elokim imach lefi sharo shiatzah mishchuna Sodom v'Yerushalayim. He saw that Avraham Avinu came out of the whole battle with Sodom v'Yerushalayim. Ve'imam alachim elcham v'navlu b'yodei v'nivkeda yishtoi v'zkenim, and that's when Sarah is given the bracha that she'll have children, even though they're older. It says that's why that's that moment. That's when Abimelech says, now let's be nice to Avram. It says, I want you to know, it says, I've been very nice to you. I didn't drive you away. I didn't I gave you back your wife. They're very nice. So you have to do chesed because I treated you nicely. Okay. But and Abraham answers, okay, I'll make a shvur. And everybody asks the kasha, why did Abraham Avinu make this shvur? Why did Abraham Avinu make this shvur? Because it's going to guarantee, right? Then Abraham gives my chorban for the bear. She goes to Abdul Melch, what? Abdul Melch Palestine. He's the king of the Palestine, the Palestina. Vayikach pasuk, skip a couple of pasuk of Vayikach Avram turn the book of Etan Abimelech Vichus Shneim bris. Also, Avram is making a bris together with Abimelech. Not only does he make a bris, but he brings Vayera Abimelech. He set aside 7 lambs as part of this bris, and Abimelech asked what's the about it. I want you to prove this is that this bear, this wellspring is mine. I can call him Beersheba. That's because we're giving the Beersheba. And the pasuk goes on to tell us, and it repeats it in itself. It tells us, that they made this bris in Beersheba. They used to return back to us. So the conscious on this bris and why would I make a bris with Abimelech and give him to Palestine? And we're going to get to it in a minute. We say this Avraham Avinu had just arrived at this point in Eretz Palestine, and Abimelech comes to tell him, okay, we're being really nice to you. Vayita Eshel b'Beersheba, v'yikrosham b'shem Hashem kilo. And Abraham goes there and establishes an Eshel. So Rashi says 2 pshatim for Eshel. Eshel Rav Shmuel. Chadam Pardes. Some say that Abraham planted a orchard. Lahavi Mimenu Peres L'Orchim B'Suda, so that the guests will have fruit. Chadam Pundik L'Chsanya. It was a hostel, a hotel. We'll come in the Paris, and there will be lots of fruits there. We find that the planting an ohel is called it's called a planting. That was the place where the name of Hashem became famous. Because how do they become famous? If he would invite the guests, they would give them to eat, chunk and kigel. And then he would tell them, now we got to give a bracha to the one who gave you the food. You think this was my food that he ate? You're eating from the one who created heaven and earth. And so there was Makav them made. Avram lived in the land of Philistim Yomim Rabim, many days. And Rashi says, even more than he lived in Hebron, because Avram lived in Hebron for 25 years. Here he lived 26 years. Because he was 75 years old when he left Haran. Then he came to Hebron, or came to Elon Nemamre, which the tour guys will show you exactly where Elon Nemamre, where Avram lived, and where the tree was that the Malachim, and they'll show you the bear, the mikveh that Sarah Menu used. Right,
Goes together with the tour, Lloyd's wife.
Yeah, go along with Lloyd's wife. Yes.
Lot.
Yeah, Shmuel Adol, Shmuel Beis.
You see over there? Here was Bilam with his ezel.
Yeah, that's right. You get to see. Yeah, you get to see the donkey that that was the Bilam's ezel. Right? The descendant, the enical of Bilam's ezel. It says that he didn't. Every place he went, he was like a guest. But he moved over here. That gives the listing of places he went. In the Mitzrayim, he was only there for 3 months. But Pharaoh sent him away after the 3 months. And then the whole Maisa was Sodom, etc. So this about so this has to be one at least longer than all of these other times. 25. And after that, after the 26 years, he returns to Hebron. But Isa, where are we? And he stayed then in Hebron after he left the Eretz position for 12 years. That becomes that Yitzchak was 36 years old by that case. And then after these things, Hashem tested up. And it starts the crash of that case. As they say in Israel, what's the connection? What's the connection with Avram? After
It happened when? How about?
What? The decade happens on HaRav. Time Maria. Wherever Avram went, he was V'yikra b'Shem Hashem. What made this one different? Avram had been Gerim all the way back still in the Kazan. That's the Nefesh Sha'asa B'Choron, and he brought along with him all those in the Shams that he was Megayer in Choron. Right? So Avram was being Megayer. Avram Megayer Gerim was the Anoshim, the sort of Megayer says Anoshim. All of a sudden here after, right, sandwiched in between the bris with Abimelech and the Parsha Keda, Avram was planting a orchard. Avram was setting himself up for like a semi-permanent residence for 26 years. What's the connection? Always the sandwich in this tells us. And the Torah says, that's where Avram called out that Hashem is Kel Olam, the master of the world. What was he doing until then? He was already so we have to examine this whole term of bris. Avram made a bris together with Avimelech. Shalom Ruby. Okay, now we can have Birchas Kahanim.
Yeah.
No, we only Birchas Kohen. Now we have Birchas Kahanim. Moon. Rubish. Give him. Tell him. So what? Looking for pshat, and this has been very difficult to find. However, there is a Rashbam, a small one of the Rashbam, and several of the Mefarshim pick up, including the Netziv. Not a Chassidish parish. Netziv, I've told it Berlin from Volozhin. He picks on this Rashbam and talks about it as being it's an important factor. This is what the Rashbam says. After he goes through the all these things, he says, what's the sequence? He says, Abraham tells Abraham, take these 7 lambs from me. Kodesh Baruch Hu tells Abraham, you gave him 7 lambs? You made a bris with him? I'm swearing. You have to know that because of this, the Plishtim will battle 7 wars against your children. And the Plishtim will be successful because of what you did. That because of these 7 kibbutzos, 7 of your descendants will die at the hands of the Plishtim. Because of this bris that Avram made with Abimelech, there will be severe consequences. Another pshat. His descendants will destroy 7 times your Mishkan, the place of the Shechina. Gilgal, Noi, V'Shiloi, V'Givain, V'Beis Halamim, 10. 7 Mekormos of Mishkan will be destroyed by the Plishtim. Because of this. Another pshat. That the Arna Kodesh will be held captive by the Plishtim for 7 months because of these 7 lambs. See, he said before, there's got to be he says, this is how you repay me back for the child I gave you? Lichris bris, you were making a bris. I gave you a son that you could do a bris milah, and that's what you do. You make a bris with Abimelech. This is what he said before. Shiva keeps that sign. B'chora apa shel HaKadosh Baruch Hashem get angry at Abraham that he made this bris. Al zeh shaharei eretz Plishtim nitn la'Abraham. Eretz Plishtim belonged to Abraham. It was Hashem gave him all of Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Plishtim, which we now call Gaza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from Ashkelon south. Okay, Ashkelon, we have it still up. It's a Palestinian stronghold. Right? He says, I gave you Eretz Yisrael. You're giving it away? You're giving it away? These are Canaan. I told her, says, your children will be told not to wipe them out. And you're saving them. That's why Hashem tested Avram, because Avram made this bris to give away parts of Eretz Yisrael. Because you made this, you give him. So therefore, the Rashbam says, therefore, Hashem told Avram, go, that son that I gave you, go bring him as a korban. We'll see what the benefit that you got out of this bris. And it says, and I found it in the Medrash. So we got this whole story with this whole event with the bris with Avimelech. It's not so pushing. Not so pushing. And I thought that maybe it's only Rashbam. Rashbam is known to bring in some pretty unusual midrashim, but the Yalkut Rebbeinu brings it. The Netziv brings it. Says that that the reason why there was not Kedah was because of the bris that Avraham made with Avimelech, in which he did something which the Baruch Shalom was not so happy about, and because of that, and because Avraham and Yitzchak were in the Ayman ben Nisayan, Hashem's tested him. Said that's this I do. Let's see how you do with this last Nisayan. Okay, Baruch Hashem, they stood by Nisayan, so therefore Klal Yisrael would survive the Plishtim. But the effect of the bris with the Plishtim is Adayim. We are suffering from the Plishtim, the Eretz Plishtim. We still haven't gotten it back.
Why wasn't the Kedah Mechaper that?
Huh?
Why wasn't the Kedah Mechaper that?
Why? Because Abraham made a bris with him. He couldn't take it back. So then Hashem said, okay, so you know what? Ultimately, eventually Mashiach will come. We'll get back this piece of earth as well too. But until then, Klal Yisrael will always suffer from this bris. It's a very powerful Rashbam. Very powerful. So I said, okay. So, but how's Avram respond? Avram was an Avi. He was the moment that he made this bris, Hashem told him, after these things, Hashem nisas Avram. Avram's answer was, in the Eretz Philistine, Avram said, you think I'm giving this away? This is a place where we're going to start to announce that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Kel Olam, Hashem is the master of the world. It's not.
So his response was he was going to be Makar from all.
That's right. That's the Avram's answer. Let's go be Makar of them.
Did a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
Hostile.
So I realized that this little piece, these two psukim, Avram said that I'm not giving away Eretz Plishtim. Avram lived in Eretz Plishtim for 26 years to prove that even though he had to make this, he made this bris with Avimelech, but still he had the schusim for the schiyah to be able to hold on to Eretz Plishtim would still be possible. It would even appear that this was one of the times that the settlers told those who were living in Gaza that they drove out to what's his name? Gush Katif. What they were told him, you can't give this away. This was given, this is if you give it away, you're going back to the bris with Avimelech. You will suffer for it. It was right. They were right. Giving you look at all the Torahs we have from Hamas since from Gaza ever since they gave it back. Because you're reaffirming Avram Avinu's bris with. So there comes, it says it demands from us some sort of a insight, something to tell us that we need to learn about how to deal with so this is what the Nasiv says. Because Nasiv. I had the fortune of being here. I was waiting for somebody to show up after Tomorrow. and he didn't show up. So I started looking around. It's one of the, I never looked at the Nitziv. Right? Not one of the Chassidish one. Right? But this time I did. I said, let me take see what he says. But Agoda, he brings the Medrash Agoda. What's the source for it? Beishis Rabbah Tzadik Daled. Yisrael Yisrael Chol Shabbat Yom Shava. Isa Shesham Gidol Tzorchi Amishkan Akroshim Vabrichim. That what did Avram Avinu do? He planted the trees, which would become the wood that Klal Yisrael would use to build the Mishkan.
I thought Yaakov planted.
No, Yaakov brought it. Yeah, it says that Yaakov planted. So, but you have to recognize how long does it take to grow trees the size of the Kroshim? If you go back to Avram Avinu, you have enough time. Umisham Huvel Mitzrayim, and it's these trees that they brought to Mitzrayim. Umisham Midbar, and from there they took them to the Midbar. That Avram Avinu was that which allowed Bnei Yisrael to be able to survive in the desert. So that Avram Avinu's Achnos Zorchem, that he wanted to plant the trees in order to have fruit for Orchem, didn't only mean for his generation. It meant that this would continue, providing until Bnei Yisrael all we got to the Midbar, then Avram Avinu's Achnos Zorchem would still provide them with a Mishkan. This is an awful message. And yeah, I was looking for it because there has to be something here. These two psukim are like out of place, except for this was the answer to the criticism of Avram Avinu's making a bris with Avimelech. Avram says, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be Masakin the bris by making sure that Klal Yisrael will have the wood that they will need for the Mishkan. Because if you take a look at the size of the Kroshim, these are massive beams, 20 feet tall by like 3 feet by 3 feet. You're talking about like the kind of trees that would have to be necessary to build a Mishkan would take 100 years 400 years to grow a forest like that. It says to have to be trees the size of what we call the redwoods, right? To have beams that were that big. So he says, the Medrash says that which Yaakov planted and brought down was these trees. Vayita Eshel, he said, what was the Eshel? Eshel was he planted trees to be able to have the Achnos. And that would be the key in which Klal Yisrael would then be able to have for lost it for the future. Place for the Mishkan. This is that's why Hashem tells me, okay, now that you're already planning it's going to be a Mishkan, now take Yitzchak and take him to Har Moriah, take him to Har Bayis, well, there'll be a Beis HaMikdash. Now you'll be able to have a Beis HaMikdash. Because you're planning now, the Klal Yisrael will have the Kedusha when they go out of Eretz Mitzrayim. They will make a Mishkan, which will then become the foundation from which there will be a Beis HaMikdash. And that's the Nisayon. That was accomplished by the Akedah, that we would have a place, a Mokum HaMizbeach, for all future days. A Mokum Kodesh. So Moshe Sternberg in his parish is also one of the things I looked at. Yeah, a few minutes, extra minutes on these psukim. He says that Avram put Yitzchak on the Mizbeach and he got ready to shach him on the Mizbeach. He says we don't find any place else that there's a shechita that takes place on the Mizbeach. All of that in the Beis HaMikdash, the shechita took place before, right? And there was Rikas Dam on the Mizbeach. He says what Avram Avinu did was to rise up. It says that the Rikas Adam and the shechita should take place in a way there should be not even a moment of a hefsek. the moment of class.
So Roman Venus didn't change his mind. Was that?
Yeah,
I'm saying.
that's right. So this would the answer was that this will be the key. So there will be ultimately a Beis Hamikdash. So I told earlier today he wanted another Maisa. Personal Shlomo Lemaisa. Shlomo was nifter in when? 1994. So this must have been 1990. I had known Shlomo since I was a little boy. Because my father was his first chabrusa when he came to America. Huh?
Where?
No, Tarvadas. Yeah, when Kalbach first arrived in America, so his father sent him the two twins to Tarvadas. Shlomo Hyman, but the Shag came over to my father's. This is Shlomo told over this over in one of his stories. He says the Shag came over to Shlomo from Milwaukee, and he says two Bochum just arrived from Germany. They speak a German Yiddish. He says you're the only one who has such a sophisticated enough Yiddish to be able to talk to them, to learn with them. So he said, so Shlomo Twerski became my first chabrusa. He says, and not only did we learn together, but he introduced me to Tanya, and the rest is all his fault. The rest was all his fault. He was the one who taught me, opened me up to see this. So there was a certain point that I realized that that he hadn't been in Colorado for a number of years. So we brought him in for Shabbaton. A concert was successful, and then he came back a year later. We did another Shabbaton. So when he was there the first time, I had my sister in Rockaway had just told me the story that she had gone to Chassan. One of her friends came back. She says, "You're not going to believe the story." Says a woman came over to me. It says, "Do you know that my husband is a famous cardiologist?" Says, "I don't know. I never met you before." He says, "Yeah, my husband's a famous cardiologist." He says, "Do you know that my husband is no longer practicing medicine?" No, I didn't know that either. He says, "My husband is sitting and learning Koil. Do you want to know why?" So I said, "I guess you want me to know." So he says, "My husband was a cardiologist, had a patient who was on life support. And the family was going back and forth constantly trying to decide if they should pull the plug or not. There was no hope. It was just total life support." Shkoyach.
Maybe. Anyone
Yeah.
have water for it?
I did not.
I done.
Okay, cool. I don't know.
And so he said, so my husband, one night he was on rounds in the middle of the night. And he had been encouraging the family that, there's no hope here. It's time to stop the. He says in the middle of the night, there was nobody else around. He walked into the first room himself. He shut off the alarm, unplugged turned off the machine.
With the doctor.
The doctor turned off the life support. Waited a couple of minutes, turned it back on, flipped the alarm system, and walked out. It's okay. A couple of seconds later, the alarm, it was already. So a couple of weeks later, my husband started having dreams that this patient came to his dreams. Said, "What did you do to me?" He says, I had my death. I was supposed to live another 2 weeks. You stole those 2 weeks of life from me. Now I'm going to have to go have to go through a whole all over again. What did you do to me? He said, my husband first thought it was just having bad dreams. He's a doctor. You don't pull the plug. person came back. He said, "You got to know, there's Shomala. They're demanding an account that you're going to have to pay. You're going to the consequence for having done this is you mitzvah and Hashem. Hashem's going to have to come back again because of what you did." So he finally asked the person. He said, "So what can I do to rectify to be misachim?" He says, "You have to make sure that you go around wherever you go. You have to tell the story so that people will know that not to do this. If there'll be enough people that will learn from this, that'll be your tikkun." He said, therefore, says this was the woman says, "That's why wherever I go, if I see a person I never met, I tell them the story, because that's the tikkun for my husband." So he gave up his practice of being a cardiologist. He sat down in Koil, and I go around telling the story to whoever I meet. So Shlomo came to Denver right around after I heard the story. So I told Shlomo, "I got to go out to the story for you." I told him the whole story. He said, "Psh, wow, let's go out to the story." A year later, when we came back for the next concert, he says, "Come on, smooth. There's still good children. Kugel. He says, he says, after I left Denver last time I traveled around, I went to South Africa. And in South Africa, they put me on a radio station, a talk show. They interviewed me in a talk show. He says, Shiur. Says,
Oh, Shlomo is saying this.
Yeah. Says, they said, "You're a rabbi, maybe you have a good story for us." I told them the story. I said, "Maybe it'll be taken for the person, the shaman, right?" Yeah, that's so long. He says, they had got 1,000 calls in within the next hour. People who listened to it couldn't get over the story. People were calling in. What a story! Way to change how important it is that the people should know the story. So Ramatullah, you got to know that because you told me the story, the neshama is going to have a tikkun. So, Avram Avinu planting this eshel, this paradise, this orchard in Beersheba, in Eretz Plishtim, and therefore Beersheba remains ours, because Avram Avinu said that this place we're not going to give back to the Plishtim. This is the place where we're going to start show. The Hashem is the God of the world, and Hashem will determine when we're going to get back at Yisrael. So Beersheba remains ours, even though until that point it was part of Eretz Plishtim. In order so that there should be plant trees, which will eventually grow, and Avraham and Yaakov Avinu will send them down to Mitzrayim, and Klal Yisrael will take them out to the Midbar, and they'll build a Mishkan, and the ultimate will be HaRav, there will be the Beis HaMikdash. Because if we pay attention to what happens in the choices that we make, these are long-term tikkunim. As we talked about the previous weeks, the effect of our choices have long-term effects. Going back to Adam and Chava, to Noach, plenty getting drunk. We talked about each one. This is Avraham Avinu's choice to make the bris with Avimelech. So Malchish's Roman says that every time it says Avimelech, it really means Avinu Malkeinu. Right? That Avraham Avinu recognized that he has to make a bris with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that no matter what happens in the world, Klal Yisrael will always have the koach, the tikkun. We have to make a tikkun. As long as that will be, but Yoga Bears from Earth Pollution, I'm there for 26 years. It's not a coincidence that 26 is a Shem Havai. That the Avraham Avinu was able to bring the koach of Baruch Hu into the tumah of Earth Pollution, and that will give us the ability to be able to rise above with all of the. You're going to go to Poland. You get to see the Mesiras Nefesh of Klal Yisrael has guaranteed our future. These are all the Efer of Akedah. It's just what the government is bare. Remind the Kodesh Baruch Hu this time the Klal Yisrael should be able to have a tikkun. Ultimately, we result to be a sagar. How the Shlom's on and money going, money. Muslims on the money.
There's another part that
Mashiach. This is the Mashiach.
Someone told me a story that so interviewed on Berlin, radio, TV, and about his life in Berlin.
Yeah.
So a person, they asked him, if he has any favorite childhood memories of Berlin before the war. He said he used to enjoy going to Berlin Zoo very much. And he used to watch the Lions. Remember, he would ask his mother if the Lions were Jewish. So the person, the counter asked him, well, did you ever find out they were Jewish? He said, I don't know, but let's go back there. If the Lions are still there, then we know they weren't Jewish.
He was born in Berlin?
No, he was in Vienna before the war.
In
Vienna.
In Vienna.
That's the whole story by
Yeah, but you know,
Berlin.
Berlin, wasn't he?
He might have been born in Berlin.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought he was in Vienna in the late 30s. The whole story of Moshe.
Anyway, have a wonderful Shabbos.
Yeah,
made it church for all of us. Everybody have a
Oh man,
wonderful
Rabbi.
But I can't. I wasn't able to send you the chant.